like it's very much like this on crack. Like it's preposterously difficult.
Reckless.
It's too late. I can see Joe's your fate. But get out my face. I'ma show you who's a disgrace.
The way that he's going in between what, like, I imagine I'm hip. Some of this is vibration bass. Am I wrong here?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. I'm improving.
You can really hear it in the beginning where he's switching from just like a to the vibration.
So what I find interesting here is the way he's flipping between vibration and kind of like a more singing thing. So it's interesting that this is something I cover a lot and talk about a lot with beatboxers. This, oops, that's the wrong one. There we go. When you sing and you have your false folds together, you're gonna get a sound like this, which is that kind of like, I don't practice that anywhere near enough, but that's like, that's the sound you're gonna get when you do that. So it's interesting to me. This ends up being a problem for most beatboxers. This ends up becoming an obstacle, but it's not for him. So what's going on here? Folds. There we go. What's going on here is that the false folds, which are kind of like over here, are little ligaments. They're very tough. So you adduct them, which is to say you bring them together, and they exist over the vocal folds. So when you bring the false folds together like that, that's how you get these really rough sounds without damaging yourself. Right, all that stuff. But it makes singing really, 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 really inefficient. So it's not impossible, nor is it bad to have your false folds adducted when you're singing, but it is way more difficult. So if you're doing like birds flying high, right? Like boom. That's way easier with the false fold retraction. But that's not what he's doing. And again, I'm not saying this is bad. Oh, a little too much red mark there. Right? So I'm not saying this is bad. I'm saying that he has to make adjustments to make it work. So the adjustment has to be that he uses extremely, extremely, extremely little air. And that can be done a couple different ways, but I'd like to see more to kind of better understand how he does that. So.
There's the TKs.
Yeah.
Closed mouth TKs.
That's super technical. Oh, this is gonna be the drop.
That niggas don't talk. Whoa.
Dang, there's a lot that's really technical here.
It's too late. I can see JoJo fate.
Ooh, wow.
Okay.
Okay, I like that melody.
Yeah. How is he doing that? How's what?
That's like a open mouth swallow bass, like an outward swallow bass.
It's like he was doing inward
HELIUM.
bass and
feel like the
snoring
periodic
at the
table.
same
Cause I always
time.
got you in up.
It's I love his scratches.
Yeah, they're super good.
Yeah. It's too late.
That's so cool. Let's go back to that.
Just because it's so long and I feel like kind of repetitive, and I feel like it could have been like ultimately this is I don't know, it's hard. It's a battle round, but it's also just trying to make the best musical piece. I feel like it maybe was a bit too long.
I see what you're saying. It is definitely longer than we traditionally expect from such a thing. I'm not I don't think it's bad to experiment with the format. So I need to think about that more on that. But I do want to talk about a lot of the technical vocal stuff, just straight up like singing stuff. So yeah. That's false fold contraction there. And the only way you can do that, and he's not going super high with it, which would be a terrible idea for the most part. The only people I hear going super high with false fold contraction or deduction would be gospel singers doing like crazy stuff. But that's not what's happening here. This is just a I'm talking like this. I have like if you kind of hold your breath a little bit and then loosen that up and then kind of sing like that, that's what's going on. And it would be one thing if that's all he was doing, because all the other techniques that he's doing involve that, like, right? That involves, and same with vibration bass, that involves the false folds. But what I thought was interesting is that he actually does get some retraction near the end here. Let's find this. So this is a little bit of falsetto, and then he's retracting the false folds a little bit. This is more like speech level. That it's a very clean sound. It's not like right. That would be more of like what it sounds like when there's full retraction, or mostly full retraction. But there's more here too.
It's basically a squelching of the soft palate.
Okay, I can see how that works. That's why I thought it sounded like snoring a little bit. But what's crazy to me, just from a musical perspective, is how he's maintaining triplets. Like, what he's doing with that snort sound is like, it's very much like this on crack. Like, it's preposterously difficult. If you don't practice that stuff a lot. Yeah, no, musically that's disgusting. That's really, really, really cool. It's like triplets or syncopation, but the two different kind of beat patterns going on.
I like the little moments of silence.
Yeah,
really adds bounce.
Yeah, 100%. And that is a cool thing too. The mixing on this is genius. I mean, like, I'm so glad amazing artists like this have editors for both audio and video. Asking such focused artists to learn the skill set of video editing and audio editing to this degree would dilute and distract someone who's such a specialist. And I think people want Inertia to be a specialist, right? Like, that's what we want from him because he's so good. So that shout out to the editors. Yeah, anyway. Well, I don't think he lacks for, I don't think his sound bank is small, or that's the issue. I think that song structure is probably where I think if someone it loses interest due to the length of the video or the routine, I think it has to do with the song structure, because he threw in the kitchen sink when it came to sound bank, which is his job, right? It's a battle, so that's fine there. But like, if you go listen to like Gene's stuff, it's got like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, or some variation.
And by the end, you're like, I don't want it to end.
Exactly. So I don't think the idea of variations on A is necessarily bad, and I actually think something like this is like, if I were to practice a lot, I think variations on A is amazing practice, because you're taking one idea and then doing it a ton of different ways. And I think it probably is one of the better things to like sit down and look at from a music perspective, because I think it's easier to pick out the changes and what you can do with that. But as far as like a 5 minutes of listening, it's certainly impressive. Like, all boxes checked. But it's not what I personally would choose to listen to for, like, I go back and listen to Gene Shinazaki's Home a lot. I don't know if I would go back and necessarily go through this as a listen, unless I was looking for the hyper technical stuff, which is totally worthwhile if you want to be a technical beatboxer, because there's a lot here. But yeah, anyway.